What is going on, boys? We got some more EX4 action for you guys. Of course, Hunters up at the top is a BT12 meta deck. I still think it's going to be really strong, arguably one of the best in set. EX4 just because, you know, Beals has been hit and a lot of the other meta decks have kind of been hit due to the most recent ban list. And so Hunter's coming out on top, I think. But Blue Flare can do some really cool things. And I think with the EX4 it has the potential to be kind of tier 1. Our opponent's starting off with a Digimon plus Watchmaker, and we're just going to go ahead and simply evolve in the back and go Kuzuha for 4, choking him to 1. And then our opponent's going to, of course, just swing into security, getting that draw, and then getting the save. And then just playing out a King Shoutmon to then play out one of the Hunters from the hand. So playing Taiki here, pretty decent setup. And then, of course, going to be able to draw next turn. So we've, got some stuff as well. You see the Kuzuha in my hand is a really cool tech in this deck. I'm just going to go ahead and go Metal Greymon already for a cost of 3, freezing the King Shout. I do also get a draw off of the Dracomon here, so would get it before I swing security. I think I'll catch it in just a second. But then I'm going to go ahead and swing security with the Dracomon, or the Dracmon rather, just because it's also got that on deletion effect from the egg here. Being able to not only have a Blue Flare egg now is pretty cool, but then it also just gets you an extra draw if you do have a Digimon in play. So pretty cool stuff. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and catch that. Since I did play the Metal Greymon, I will get the extra draw. And then we've got a pretty decent setup. Sorai is a cool card because not only does it kind of synergize with the whole source stripping mechanic, but you can play it for free with Kuzuha is really strong. And Kuzuha gives you a cool follow-up after your Metal Greymon play. So you see I can Digivolve it for 3, use a Sorai for free, of course, in this scenario. Not the absolute best, but still being able to trash some materials, and then freezing the Shoutmon, or just freezing all Digimon without sources, and then being able to use Kuzuha's second effect to then play the Greymon out from under the hand. This is the EX4 Greymon, which does search a Kuzuha plus a blue or black Digicross requirement card. So being your Metal Greymons, as well as Decker Greymon, I believe does have Digicross requirements. So passing with 3 Digimon I think is pretty decent. Our opponent does need to do a lot to be able to clear the board, but of course Hunters excels in being able to clear boards, just because you've got cards like a Kakimon, Omni Shout, Shoutmon King to be able to pop 4,000s or lower, -2 off the pencil, and then being able to clear boards with the superior mode is also really good. So we are going to see Dracmon for a reduced cost of 2, being able to bottom deck to the Tamers to then be able to draw a couple extra cards to cycle into the Kakimon there, and then our Starjamon coming down for a reduced cost of 1, debating on which inherited to put underneath, and we are just going to evolve that for 1, giving that stack rush for the turn, which is just so disgusting, man. I think this deck is just really crazy, this format. Like, it is consistent, it has a high ceiling, pretty much anything you can want for in a tier 1 contender. So he's going to swing at the Dracomon and then use the effect of Omni Shout to pop the Greymon, of course saving itself, and then I'm going to get the draw on the deletion from the egg. So we do have Metal Greymon in hand, that's really strong, but our opponent is then going to go ahead and go into superior mode, which because our opponent only has 2 different color tamers, won't be able to tuck the Kuzuha, but it will be able to just end of turn swing at it, and it is 12k due to the Dracmon being able to run over my board. There is pretty crazy. So we're starting from scratch here, but we do have access to a couple of strong plays. So I am at 4, so I definitely have the potential to maybe do something like a Decker Dramon for 5, choking my opponent, potentially playing the Metal Greymon for 5 to freeze the Shoutmon once again, but I am actually just going to play the Greymon to try to dig for the male bird, as well as some extra cards. So there, I'm going to grab the Zeke Greymon and the EX4 Greymon. Zeke Greymon's really good because not only is a blocker inherited, but it also is a really good offensive card because it lets you, unsuspend itself. So giving my opponent 5 here, probably not the best play, but with 3 swings next turn and the potential to play another Tamer and then get the second attack +1, off of the old Clockshot Man or Watchmaker, whatever. I think I was probably cooked no matter what, but I think maybe Decker Dramon Pass would have been better, because at least at that point my opponent would have had to have a level 4, which he does in his hand, so he could have choked it. I could have choked him at 1, He would have then brought out the pencil, Digivolve Shaman for a reduced cost of 1, play the U. Now he has 4 Tamers in play, give the Superior Mode multiple security checks, and then still be able to game me there. So we are just going to see Superior Mode number 2 here, tucking underneath the Greymon here, and then swinging Omni Shout or Shaman King, trashing, killing the dude, checking 3, second Superior Mode, goes for the last security check, and then end of turn my opponent can just pass and then swing with one of these superior modes for game. So that's just going to be game 1, number 1. So Blue Flare, pretty strong, but I think just a little outsped by Hunters here, and the fact that they get around like your save effects as well as like your material save is pretty annoying. So we are just going to start with Blazing Memory Boost. Of course, giving our opponent 5 is pretty terrible, but this card is really strong, especially if you can get the Tamer early on, which we did not get, unfortunately. But I am just going to grab the Gaussmon Mailbird. And speaking of new support, the Mailbird from EX4 I think is really powerful in this deck, being able to on play effectively ice walling one of your opponent's Digimon. I think it has to be the lowest level or something, but against decks that only put out 1 Digimon, it's really strong because if they try to play around your inheriteds that require you to have 2 or more, your opponent has 2 or more Digimon, like Unsuspend or the Mailbird that's freeze if they have 2 or more. This new Mailbird plays around that because if they only keep 1, then you just freeze it with the new Mailbird, and then they lose 2 memory every single time they attack. So pretty cool stuff. I'm going to go ahead and go Greymon here just to get some more searches. Really need a Tamer. I'm going to grab Decardramon as well as the Mailbird, and then of course the Gaussmon will be able to draw me an extra card. So lots of cards in my hand, and choking my opponent to 1 is pretty solid, I think. Especially for a just the early turn play. Opponent's going to go Damemon here, going to draw off of the Inherited, swinging into security with the Pencil as well. That one is going to die, and then drawing off of the Egg here. So with 2 memory, most likely another Digimon or a Tamer is going to come down, maybe Shaman King, choking me to 1, or something like a Watchmaker could be pretty important as well. So we are just going to see a U coming down for 3. Not the most ideal play, but definitely still not terrible. Putting me to 1, I'm going to go Gaussmon, swinging the Gaussmon on field into security. Of course, it is going to die, and I will draw into the Kuzuha, finally getting my Memory Tamer. And I think at this point, I just want to play that for 4. Putting my opponent to 3, potentially 5 is, definitely not what you want to do, but I need my Tamer on field. I need to be able to save. And I need to be able to guarantee myself 3 memory to be able to play out our Metal Greymon. So our opponent's going to go Dracmon in the back, and then going to go Taiki here for a cost 3 to get the extra draws next turn, and then just going to go our Stargemon for 2. And our opponent is actually just going to swing before they do that, realizing that, like, okay, yeah, I might as well just chip in for some extra damage. So they're going to basically swing first and then play the Taiki or whatever, or play the our Stargemon in the back. So putting me to 3, I'm going to go ahead and move out. Now we can do some shenanigans. We are going to go Gaussmon in security, and the cool thing about this is I can kind of choose which order I want to do this. So if I didn't have the Greymon in play already, I could use Gaussmon's effect to play something out, and then Missymon to draw a card. But I'm going to just go ahead and play out the Greymon, revealing top 3, searching a Kuzuha. So we're going to get him to our hand. Not really like we need anymore, but that's okay. It also searches the Kuzuha Nene, the dual black and blue Tamer. Not seeing those this game, but that's okay. So we're just going to go Greymon in security, saving underneath our Tamer here. And we can definitely go Metal Greymon, but we don't have lethal because our opponent doesn't have like anything on field. So if we had like the if we use the Greymon underneath the Kuzuha, we could swing twice, but we're just going to put him to 1, and then grabbing another Digicross requirement Digimon. So we got Metal Greymon already. I don't think I'll be having the chance to playing out multiple Metal Greymons, and having the freeze option is nice, especially because I got Decker already. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab the Decker Greymon, putting my opponent to 1. So possibly he can kill me if he has like rookie, regular Stargemon. That's going to cost like 2 to 3, and then he could go superior mode, like swing, superior mode game. So that's definitely a possibility. Our opponent's going to go and cycle some cards, and then going to go up to 2 memory, debating on what exactly he wants to do here. Could definitely also just leave 1 thing on field, and then I probably wouldn't be able to kill him this next turn. Even if he like clears my board and then puts me to 3, I could go like Metal Greymon, freeze something maybe, but with the amount of materials that these stacks can get, I'm most likely not going to be able to freeze anything. So he's going to use all 3 of the reductions to digivolve the superior mode for a cost of 1 here. And then going to go ahead and tuck one of my Greymons underneath the other one. Going to go ahead and swing security, drawing a couple of cards off of the purple inheriteds, and then deleting the Greymon off of the Omni Shoutmon there. And then just checking one. And then probably just passing turn with like a Tamer, maybe a Digimon or something. Probably doesn't want to play another Digimon. So yeah, just play a Tagiru for 4, putting me to 3, and then utilizing the end of turn to swing for that last check. Putting me on 0 security is pretty scary. So especially against a deck that has access to Rush, it's entirely likely that he can just kill me the next turn. So we're just going to try to do what we can. So Gaussmon in the back, and then Metal Greymon for a cost of 3, utilizing the new EX4 pieces here. Since our opponent doesn't have 2 or more, there's not really a point to utilize the old Greymon, so I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Not going to be able to freeze anything since he does have more materials, but I'm going to go ahead and swing, draw 1, and jamming into security is pretty nice, especially if you want to, if you are swinging into decks that have bigger stacks. Always nice to be able to do that. And then we're going to go Decker Gray. Decker Gray is going to on evolve stick the Decker Dramon underneath. Freezing the superior mode here is pretty strong play and does avoid lethal. Also drew an Ice Wall here, but I didn't feel like I needed to play it because if he had a rush target, he would be able to just kill me anyway. So it wouldn't really, Ice Wall, putting him to 4 doesn't really make a difference. So our opponent is just going to cycle a couple cards here with the Taiki and then stick some stuff under you to go on up to 4. And it's going to be tough. I think he just wants to try to dig until he gets a rush target, but we've already seen a bunch of regular Arsardramons and stuff, so instead we're just going to see the Quartzmon. Is really unfortunate here, man. This was the thing that sealed the deal, I think. So reducing the cost by 4 by suspending all of the hunters and making an absolutely colossal stack here. Being able to evolve the Quartzmon for a 9-4 cost for just 5 cost. And then utilizing Quartzmon's effects, so spending everything, and then for each pair of suspended things on field, you gain back 1 memory. So I believe there are 6 things, so we're going to go gain back going up to 2. Of course, the Quartzmon cannot attack, but he also does have the blocker inherited underneath, which is really unfortunate for me. And he's going to pass turn with Clockshot Man, just being able to reveal 3, adding a Tamer here, but we know that he's got lethal next turn, so I'd have to do something like freeze the Quartzmon and then try to dig for a Zeke Greymon. That blocker inherited can be clutch, so if I'm able to do that, that could definitely save me the game, but because of Quartz, nothing on my field will be unsuspended, so I can definitely bring out the Gaussmon. Unfortunately, I don't have anything really strong to play off of it. Male Bird is there, which is cool, but not in this scenario. Like I can, I'll die, and then I can draw a card, and then use the Gaussmon to play out. Male Bird, I think, is actually the only target in my hand, to give the Quartzmon on attack, like, lose 2 memory. So again, that in tandem with like Ice Wall, you're like, dude, that thing's losing 4 memory if it swings. So it is a really cool card. This Male Bird, and like comboing off of this, and the stun capabilities are insane. But just in this scenario, it's not really enough, I think, to be able to do that, because again, I've got a freeze. So if I can get another Decker Dramon somehow, which I believe I can, because I can go ahead and go Kuzuha, play like a Sorai or something, and then use your second effect to play out the Decker, and then Decker Digivolve into Decker Greymon to freeze the Quartz once again. But I just really need to try to dig for the Zeke Greymon here, so I really need to see that within 2 draws, basically. So we're going to go ahead and do that play. So I'm going to go Kuzuha for 3, using her effect to be able to play a 5-cost option or less, playing Sorai, which I wish this trashed bottom 4 in this scenario, because of course I would be able to get rid of the blocker. But regardless, being able to trash some materials from my opponent's Quartzmon, fine, whatever. And then we're going to utilize Kuzuha's second effect to then play level 4 or lower blue Digimon, playing Decker Dramon, and then Decker Dramon is going to draw me 2 cards. So Decker Dramon is drawing 2 here, still not seeing it, and then it literally needs to be the next card, so we're just going to have to go Decker Greymon to freeze the Quartz, because then I can go Decker Greymon, evolve over Decker, and then stick a Zeke Greymon underneath it. But that's not going to happen here, so I'm going to be able to freeze it, and then just seeing how far down it was, 4 cards away, not too bad. But yeah, guys, that's going to do for this one. With this, our opponent can just promote the Cyclone, swing security, and that's going to be game. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the showcase of Blue Flare, and thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.